All amps and processors will generate a certain amount of noise. So noise suppressors, or gates as they are often called, will help prevent unwanted noise from being heard when you're not playing. Other contributing factors are the type of pickups that your guitar uses, as well as the quality of the guitar cables. Always try to use the best quality cables that you can afford and have your guitar serviced by a reputable technician. Noise gates are set by adjusting the threshold parameter, and this will depend on how noisy your signal is. You want to set your threshold as low as possible, almost right on the line between noise and silence. Setting the threshold too high will result in you having to play much harder to trigger the gate or suppressor to open again. This pedal is the Rocktron Hush, and it's a very simple pedal in that it only has a single parameter, the threshold. So let's have a look at setting it up correctly. Start with the threshold at its minimum value, and then while slightly muting the strings with your right hand, slowly turn the threshold up until the noise is only just gone. As mentioned earlier, if you set the threshold too high, it means you'll have to really dig into the strings unnaturally hard in order to be able to open the suppressor up again. It will also result in a lack of dynamics and will probably minimize any sustain from your guitar. Now if we move on to this Boss NS2, you'll notice that it also has a decay parameter as well as a mode switch. The mode switch allows you to be able to toggle between noise suppression or muting. When the mode is set to mute, it will totally mute your guitar signal when the pedal is turned on. Now let's move on to the decay parameter. The minimum value results in the suppressor or gate closing immediately after you stop playing, whereas there may be times when you want it to close more gradually. I'll just set it to its maximum and you can hear how long it takes to close down. I generally don't use much, if any, noise suppression on clean sounds, but for high gain sounds, after I've correctly set the threshold up, I generally have the release at its minimum so that I can have the gate kick in the moment I stop playing. Placement of the noise gate in the effects chain is also very important. You generally want it directly after the preamp, as it is the preamp and distortion that is most likely to cause the noise. If it is placed at the end of the chain, it will unnaturally cut off any subtle delay or reverbs that you may have set up. Here's an example of how not to set it up. I have intentionally placed the noise gate after the reverb. Hear how it destroys the gentle decay of the reverb. So, just to reiterate, almost always place your noise gate after your preamp.